Hey cadets, today we're going to complete our cold weather injuries class. This is where we left off on our last class, reflecting on some of the things that we talked about, and then you did the reading on frostbite. So we're going to move forward thinking how we can prevent and treat cold weather injuries. And first we'll watch this video.
Cold weather and wind chill brings with it the possibility of cold-related illnesses. The danger is that you may not recognize that these are happening to you, so it is important that you and your friends monitor each other for these symptoms. Treatment for frostbite includes warming the affected area with direct body heat. Medical personnel should be consulted as soon as possible. Do not thaw frozen area if treatment will be delayed. Do not massage or rub affected area. Do not wet area or rub with snow or ice. To treat immersion foot, warm feet by exposing them to warm air. Evacuate victim to a medical facility. Do not massage, rub, moisten, or expose affected area to extreme heat. To treat a victim of hypothermia, strip off clothing and wrap victim in blankets or sleeping bag. Get victim to a heated location and medical treatment as soon as possible. If a victim is suffering from snow blindness, if the victim is wearing contact lenses, remove them as soon as snow blindness is suspected. Do not rub the eyes. Rubbing the eyes will only cause further irritation. Place a cold, damp compress over the eyes to alleviate the stinging of the burn. Cover the eyes with gauze bandages or thick eye pads. During and after the healing process, use protection from light, i.e. sunglasses if outside, and limit eyelid movement. Consult with medical personnel as soon as possible.
All right, so that is the treatment of our cold weather injuries. So how do we prevent these cold weather injuries? Well, probably one of the most important things is that first one right there, wearing the right clothing. Come in prepared for a cold environment. Like I said, sometimes when we march in the parades, I tell the kids, make sure, before we march, we're going to be sitting in the cold, bring your gloves, or maybe have a hat we can put on before we march, just so you can stay warm. So you're going to protect your eyes, ears, and face. About 80% of your heat loss comes out of your head. So a significant amount of heat is lost. If you're able to keep your head warm and your hands warm, it'll significantly help keep the whole body warm. If you know you're going to be out in that environment, make sure you've drunk enough fluids, water, and make sure you've had a healthy diet so that your body metabolism is functioning properly. Be rested. Make sure you're practicing good hygiene, changing out socks, those sort of things. And keep moving when you're out in cold weather to maintain your circulation. It'll keep you warm. And then the video said there, you should probably go with a partner, especially if it's extremely cold, so each other can keep an eye on each other to see for the signs of potentially hypothermia or any of the other cold weather injuries. Okay, this would be from our readings. We'll do a reading today, so that won't be done in class. One treatment for frostbite is to put the affected area close to a high heat source, such as a fire. Is that true or false? Think about that. To warm it up, there's a high heat source, putting it close, and that's actually false, guys, because the person that's experiencing frostbite may not be able to. Their nerves have been damaged possibly, and they would not realize potentially that they are now burning themselves if they get too close to the high heat source. And then you have two injuries combined with one. Massaging the affected area of a cold weather injury is the proper treatment necessary to stimulate the blood flow and bring warmth to the area. And we talked about this in our last class, if you were paying attention. Is that true or false? And that is false. Like we said, that when Potentially, especially if you got frostbite, those little frozen particles are little daggers. And by massaging and that sort of thing, you're potentially making the injury worse. You're going to try to use your body to keep, to warm them up, but you're not going to massage their skin. Even though the temperature is 53 degrees Fahrenheit, the light rain and wind put an extra chill in the air. You and 3 of your friends have been playing touch football for the past 3 hours, and you decide to take a break before starting your last game. After a few minutes, your friend Ethan is shivering, and he looks a little pale. He groans as he stands up, and then he trips over his own feet. When you help him up, his hands feel very cold. What should you and your friends do next? Start treating him for hypothermia? Start treating him for trench foot or immersion foot? Start treating him for dehydration? Or continue to monitor his temperature and see if he warms up? So which one of those would that be? What injury do you think he's probably experiencing? And that would be, if you did reading in our presentation, A. Probably got a little hypothermia there, temperature's coming down, and that, his balance, that'll start, messing up because the blood is not flowing properly. And so then he probably has hypothermia. So you need to warm him up. Warming the affected area of a cold weather injury is part of the treatment of all answer choices except A, frostbite, B, immersion foot, C, hypothermia, or D, snow blindness. And according to our video we just watched, that would be D, snow blindness. Okay, think about giving first aid to someone suffering from a cold weather injury. So we move forward, and we're not going to do that in our class because you'd be doing that in your reading. So what jobs or career fields may be more likely to suffer from immersion foot or trench foot? Well, we mentioned that in the military, it's very possible. I've seen it with soldiers out on exercises for a long period of time, not changing out their socks and the boots, and their feet continuously being wet. To people that work outdoors and they have to go through the water and their feet are getting wet. Utility repairmen and that sort of thing. Even have one person that works for the Department of Nature Resources that graduated a couple of years ago as a DNR officer. And he's always out in the woods. He'd probably be one that have to worry about that. So, which type of cold weather do you think requires EMS to be called? Well, definitely, person has frostbite, you need to be doing that. Hypothermia, and to be on the level of how bad trench foot is, but you'd have to make that call. How you remember what you need to do, and what we'll do now is we'll go over some of the key words. So these are the key words for this lesson. What is the definition of precipitation? Is that an injury caused by the body tissue by frost or extreme cold, a condition that results from fluids are lost from the body or not replaced? Any form of water such as rain, snow, sleet, or hail that falls to the earth's surface. To use materials to protect or isolate something from the elements of weather beneath the top layer of skin. I think this one is pretty obvious. I think we all know what precipitation is. Should be C. What is the definition of the word insulate? And when we say an injury caused by body tissue, by frost or extreme cold, too little body heat with abnormally low internal body temperature, to use materials to protect or isolate something from the elements of weather, injuries that are not very serious and only affect the surface of the body beneath the top layer of skin, and insulate would be your answer C there, which whenever you're out in the cold weather, you want to be insulated, protect yourself from the elements with a jacket or whatever proper clothing you need to be wearing. What is the definition of the word subcontagious? A condition that results from fluids that are lost from the body or not replaced, too little body heat, and abnormally low internal body temperature, to use materials to protect or isolate something from the elements of weather, injuries that are not very serious, only affect the surface of the body, beneath the top layer of skin, So, what is the answer to that for subcutaneous? Beneath the top layer of skin. What is the definition of the word frostbite? An injury caused by the body tissue by frost or extreme cold, a condition that results when fluids are lost from the body and not replaced, too little body heat with abnormally low internal body temperature, any form of water such as rain, snow, sleet, or hail that falls to the Earth's surface, to use materials to protect or isolate something from the elements of the weather. And I'm pretty certain from our class, you would know that is an injury caused by the body tissue extreme cold. What is the definition of the word superficial? A condition that results when fluids are lost from the body and not replaced, too little body heat with abnormally low internal body temperatures, to use material to protect or isolate something from the elements of the weather, injuries that are not very serious and only affect the surface of the body beneath the top layer of skin. And superficial, like a superficial wound, obviously that's injuries that are not very serious, only affect the surface of the body. And our final word, what is the definition of the word hypothermia? An injury caused to the body tissue by frost or cold or extreme cold. A condition that results when fluids are lost from the body or not replaced. Too little body heat with abnormally low internal body temperature. To use materials to protect or isolate something from the elements of the weather. Injuries that are not very serious and only affect the surface of the body. And by process of elimination, and pretty obvious, it's going to be C. Too little body heat and abnormally low internal body temperatures. So it brings us, how can cold weather injuries be treated and prevented? Hopefully you've come to a better understanding of the different types of cold weather injuries, what you can do to try to prevent them. That's probably the most important part in working in a cold weather environment. Understanding, being prepared, and having it, prevented. And then in the event you are able to recognize some of the symptoms of the cold weather injuries and what you need to do to properly treat for them. And that completes this class.